Hi everyone, welcome back to Canary Cast. We're back again sooner than we thought, with news breaking this morning surrounding Jamal Lewis. Jacob, I was slightly worried when I woke up and saw Jamal Lewis trending on Twitter.
I just ran to my phone, didn't I? I sent about 1,000 messages. Jamal Lewis is trending. What's going on? Yeah, not surprising that he's being linked with a move to a Premier League club, but the figure around it to start off with was very surprising, wasn't it?
It was the details of the deal or the rhetoric surrounding the deal has changed throughout the day. But when we initially saw it this morning, the figure was 10 million quid. Personally, my initial reaction was that's nowhere near enough. Were you the same?
I thought, yeah, that's fine for his right leg.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a great amount of money, really, is it? Even for a relegated team.
Not when you look at like the amounts that Liverpool have, mostly recouped from players. I know different positions, but look at like Brad Smith was like 5 million on his own, who'd hardly ever played for Liverpool. Jordan Ibe, 15 odd mil. Solanke, 20 mil. You could keep reeling them off. Look at Jude Bellingham. He's played 46 games for Birmingham, 30 million. So yeah, 10 mil for a fully fledged international who's played at left back for the last 2.5 seasons non-stop. Yeah, the 10 million is an absolute joke.
But I mean, on that note, even Carl Walker-Peters, who is involved with a swap deal for Højbjerg, but 12 million quid for Carl Walker-Peters is madness. So there's no way Jamal Lewis should be going for 10.
That's a cracking shout, that actually, mate. Because like you say, barely played for Tottenham, and has not really played that much for Southampton. Has played in bits and bobs, but yeah, like you say, I think that was an obligation to buy pretty much with the Højbjerg deal. They pretty much summed that deal all up, hadn't they, before the summer? But like you say, still 12 million for a player who I think Jamal Lewis will definitely overtake in terms of careers. Yeah, if absolute, I'd still be disgusted at 15, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, when you hear £10 million, you assume that it's an initial offer and that the club will rebuff it and then there'll be a new offer. But then I saw the Independent article, it was Melissa Reddy, I think, and she was saying that Jamal Lewis has flown home from Mykonos where he's having a break. So, I mean, he's come home with the intention of negotiating, you would assume.
Yeah, he's not coming back to Norwich, is he, for the fun of it?
No, exactly. But then later in the day, I think it was Matt Law, was saying that the figure is now 20. Norwich will not sell below 20. We don't need to sell. And although 20 million quid, I suppose, in the current scheme of things, is not a massive amount of money, but when you see Man City completing at least the initial signing of Ferran Torres for 21, perhaps this is just the reality of a post-COVID transfer market.
Yeah, potentially, and less with Jamal, maybe with Todd. Maybe the club are looking at, if you don't go up next season, are they still the same value? You've got to kind of go around all of that and think about those kind of things. But for me, like you say, we don't really have any pressure to sell for the first time since Webber and Farker have been here. So still 20 mil is obviously, in a bigger picture, a massive sum of money. Obviously, we sold Maddison for that. But looking at with a year experience in the Premier League, and he played solidly. I wouldn't say Jamal Lewis was poor in any shape or form. And he could definitely improve in a Premier League squad with Jurgen Klopp developing him. He could become, whatever he wants, really. He's got all the attributes to become a fantastic left-back for, the next 10 years, easily.
Yeah. It's fair to say, and I know I speak for both of us here, we don't want Jamal Lewis to go at all, but this is some opportunity for him if it's to be believed.
Oh, 100%. And to be fair, we've talked a lot on the pod. Why do you buy Sam McCallum if you don't get rid of Jamal Lewis? Like, Sam McCallum is probably championship ready now. Was very good in League One with Coventry. Has had a quick kind of glow up in his career, hasn't he? But like, we've seen reports saying that Webber and Co are very excited by McCallum. He seems to be a little bit more all-rounded left-back, as Jamal's quite defensive, isn't he? His attacking play is not fully there yet. He's getting there, but he can improve on that. But yeah, like you say, it'll be interesting to see what develops, but I can see why Liverpool are interested, and it's a massive opportunity for him. Why would you not want to play for the champions of Europe still currently and the Premier League champions? And they'll definitely go on and improve, won't they? They're not going to slip up anytime soon, I wouldn't imagine.
No, yeah, absolutely. Fair play to him. If he does go, we obviously have a void in the squad to fill. Assuming that Philip Peiser is off this summer, because we really haven't seen a lot of him. if he does go, the only other thing I've heard today is that maybe like a 20 million plus Yassine Larouci, who
Yeah,
I think has played 2 games, you said?
in the cup, yeah. It's difficult to go around. Obviously, he's played for the under-23s, but you can never compare that, can you? The Championship is a different beast. I would imagine if you're looking at Larouci, it would be as backup to Sam McCallum, but then he doesn't want to stay at Liverpool because he's not getting game time, which is admirable. But maybe they'll contest it. But again, you want that kind of same back four, back five, don't you? Continuity throughout the season. I think they're both interesting players, and obviously you can develop both of them. But I'd be surprised, to be honest. It does seem to be that a Liverpool left back wants to leave the club. He's young. Norwich develop young players and are losing a left back.
So, Jacob, I think it's fair enough to say that neither of us want Jamal Lewis to go. But how confident are you that this deal will be concluded? Do you think Jamal Lewis will be a Liverpool player in the next few weeks?
Oh, this is horrible because if I say 100%, I could see Harvey's little beaming smile ready to clip this up and use it against me for the end of time. Obviously, they're interested in January, weren't they, Liverpool? We heard kind of rumours around the club that they are in for him long term. It's a cut price deal for them, isn't it? I know that they've come out and said they haven't got much to spend on any big players this summer, but I think if they negotiate Larouci and obviously the swap and money, which could, I'd imagine, end up towards 15, maybe rising to 20 with add-ons, I can see that easily being done. I guess it's just up to Jamal, isn't it? Do you go from first team regular, which I know Championship, he can still develop though. I think he can be a Premier League player for next season, but he is easily still able to develop with us, I believe. To not mid-table rotation in a huge club. It's a real tricky one, isn't it? For the ambition, I'd go, but then do you feel like you can displace at the moment one of the best left backs in the world? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I personally, I think 20 million. I don't know. He's a full international, Jake. He's got 12 Northern Ireland appearances. He's a promising, very young player. Is 20 million actually enough?
Are we plussing Larouci on this?
No, let's leave him out for now.
Okay, so no Larouci for me, 25. I think that's fair. People will look at that and maybe say Norwich bias, but at the end of the day, like you say, fully fledged international who could be still going to the Euros. Let's not forget that Northern Ireland. That would be potentially a massive kind of thing for him again. It will be a big incentive for him next year. He needs to be playing realistically. I know he's first choice left back, but you don't want to be going into a major competition if they do qualify and not really be at it. So maybe, I think we said off camera, potentially Liverpool could buy him, loan him back. You never know.
Okay, so in summary, I think it's fair to say neither of us want him to go. It needs to at least be 20 million on a player, or maybe 25 million if there's no player involved. I think this one probably has got legs, because if it's true that he's returned from his holiday, then I think we can safely assume he's at least in discussions or advanced discussions, because supposedly his agent would have done the first bit of it. But anyway, let's park Jamal Lewis there for now, because we've got some outgoing room. Oh yeah, go
on. Should we tell Liverpool fans what they're going to get if it is, or any kind of, because I imagine people will be searching Jamal Lewis now thinking, because they haven't watched Norwich that much. They'll have seen Man City, they'll have seen Leicester, but they don't really know what they're getting. So I think we should maybe go over that. What would you kind of summarise in, I don't know, a few lines, what Jamal Lewis is as a left back?
Well, I'd say they've probably already seen it, because they've had Jamal Lewis Welcome to Liverpool videos up on YouTube since January. They're such a weird fan base, but a big fan base nonetheless. So yeah, we should. He is a left back that is currently a bit low on confidence, I think. He cuts and plays the ball inside much more often now than he did certainly last season. Last season he'd be seen bombing down the left a lot more than we've seen the back end of the Premier League season. But there is an awful lot of talent there. Daniel Farkas also reckons he can play centre back. That definitely wouldn't be my first choice where I'd put him, but he is versatile. I heard, I think it was the Liverpool paper, is it Echo, the Liverpool? I can't remember what the name of the paper is now, but I saw them saying that he could play on the left wing as well, which he hasn't done an awful lot of, but he probably has got the attributes to do that. But yeah, that's my summary. What would you add?
You're going to get a player who is basically an athlete. He was running when he was youngster, wasn't he? He had to choose between athletics and football. You look at it, just his thighs on any Instagram picture, they're massive. Like there's a good build there in terms of just natural athlete. So getting up and down that pitch is not going to be a problem for him. I know, obviously, Liverpool, we watched him at Carrow Road, or I did, a nice up and close and personal, and kind of seeing how much they switch from Trent to Andy Robertson. Jamal Lewis will have no problem with having the ball a lot of the time. He is good on the ball, like you say. Cutting back this season, we don't cross the ball, do we, enough for us in our system. So I think you can see a lot that he's been told to cut back, and he does listen to, obviously, that rather than always going with his natural instinct, which I think would be to drive on. He's definitely a lot more of a defensive player than an attacking player. Whilst I say he can get up and down easily, his defensive instincts are a lot better than his attacking instincts at the moment for me. Whereas I'd say Max Aarons could potentially be the other way around. Positionally, he can still improve, but I think he's up there currently. I'd say a mid-table Premier League team. He could, for me, positionally, like I say, still improve with the awareness. Not fantastic in the air, but again, I don't think we help him with that with our zonal marking. I remember first game of the season, him against Virgil van Dijk. It was not a fair kind of one-on-one. But he can use his frame more. I think he could do a little bit more building up in terms of his upper body, as his lower body is absolutely fine in terms of, like I say, engine-wise, perfect. But yeah, you're going to get a left-back who, defensively good, it can only improve for me.
Yeah, spot on. Okay, let's park Jamal Lewis there for now. Let's talk about some rumoured outgoings, because Paddy Davitt of the EDP, Pinkin, etc., seems to think that Tribal, Leitner, and we've already spoken about Drummich possibly going, but those three are off or have been told they can find other clubs, essentially. I'm not massively surprised at any of them, are you?
No, not at all. I'm only surprised that it's taken this long for the agents and whatever to kind of come out and say it. All three have not been in the plans, really. I'd say all three have outside influences that distract from football, which Daniel Farker is not a fan of. So I can definitely see why all three have been told they can move on and find new clubs. Yeah.
The one thing I did think was that Leitner is very good at that quarterback role in the Championship. But I suppose they're not confident he can make the step up to the Premier League at the second time of asking. Not that he played an awful lot this season just gone.
I think he also, we know the rumours, we can say that he did have a little Barney with Daniel Farke, didn't he? Question the tactics, question why he wasn't in the side. Look at Nelson Oliveira. It doesn't matter what your quality is. If you question Daniel Farke, you will be gone. It doesn't matter if it's this season. You will be gone eventually. You'll be frozen out. Exactly like Nelson was. You could say it's passion potentially from Leitner, as it was with Nelson, but either way, it's kind of a dictatorship in a way, isn't it, with Daniel Farke, in terms of he will not have players questioning.
No. Do you think these players are going to be bought by sort of domestic clubs, or can you see them going back to Germany, for example?
Yeah, I can see them all going back, mate. I'd be surprised if another English club picks up any of them. I don't think Tom Tribal's done enough this year. It is a shame, because I did like Tom Tribal. I thought he was fantastic free transfer when we picked him up, and was very solid in the Championship. I think we all remember Leeds away. It was a fantastic performance. One of the most memorable nights I think we'll ever have as a Norwich fan, especially last season. But this year, he's just not cut the mustard, has he? I don't really know what he offers in the Premier League. He's not really physical enough and doesn't ping that ball forward enough. I don't think he has the engine to get up and down either. So to be honest, I think Jakob Sorensen has come in to replace him.
Yeah, and if Drummich does go, I think we can safely assume we may bring another striker in, which could be exciting.
Yeah, the thing is, he's just. If I don't like to be too strong, but it feels like he's just kind of leached on with his kind of interviews recently, hasn't he? In terms of, I loved playing against the big names and the big boys. Yeah. It's like, okay, you've had your time, you've had your experience. I would love for it to have worked, to be honest. Like I said, I still think he would have scored goals in the Championship. Tottenham away, we'll always remember him for that. But I think he'd be a poacher in the Championship. I think he'd get 15, 20 goals if you put him in the right team. Well, especially with the way we play in the Champ, we'll dominate the ball, and he will get tap-ins and in and around the boxes like Teemu Pukki did in the Championship. But yeah, I think we do need another striker. I do still believe Teemu Pukki can rediscover that form, but I feel the burden needs to be less on him. And the same with Adam Eder. I know he is a really exciting product, isn't he? And I think he will have a lot more of a kind of say in the Championship. but I would not rely on him to score as many as what we need. I'd say, in terms of, I'm not backing him to score 15 goals in the Championship next year.
Me neither. Right, I think that about does it. Thanks for listening as always. Please like and subscribe because that massively helps us out. I haven't been saying that enough. I've been getting told off, but you must do it, okay, please.
Do it.
But yeah, Jake will be in my ear otherwise. But yeah, thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week, and here's keeping Jamal Lewis.